Grace and peace on the 7th of August as we continue in the unexpected virtue of failure week. Exploring failure, it's about perspective. So as a character in the scripture, you probably know Joseph of Arimathea. If you don't know Joseph of Arimathea, hold on until Lent and you'll get to know him a little better. There's a long journey till Lent. But Joseph of Arimathea is the gentleman who asked for Jesus' body. And when he got Jesus' body, it was his tomb that Jesus was eventually laid into. Joseph of Arimathea, according to the legend, was one of the Sanhedrin in Jesus' time. Sanhedrin would be the council that would be assembled, a group of those wise leaders. It would have been like a court, perhaps, that was called at the time. So for Joseph of Arimathea to be a follower of Jesus, you could probably think of that as not one of the successful things he might have done. Or another way you would say that is, it might have been a failure. But we count that as a success, don't we? So as we're looking at the unexpected virtue of failure, I have this invitation for you. And that is to understand that viewing something as a failure is always going to depend on which set of eyes you use to see it. So from the council of the Sanhedrin, being a follower of Jesus of Nazareth would have been a failure. But for us, saying that Joseph of Arimathea was a follower of Jesus is anything but a failure. So as you're looking and discerning what you think is failure in your life or someone else's life, for me, I just give you something that I try to do. I remember some of these characters of Scripture that I know, like Joseph of Arimathea, or another wonderful one would be Nicodemus. From one set of eyes and one perspective, their actions would have been seen as failure. But from another set of eyes and another perspective, the things that they did and the choices that they made were anything but. So, enter into that judgment with more than a small amount of grace and kindness. This is what I hope for me when I look at something I'm doing and say, okay, not so much a failure, but maybe that was practice. And if somebody asks me my opinion in something they endeavored to do, I try to tell stories like this and say, perhaps view it through the eyes of grace, with kindness and understanding the various perspectives with which you could see it. It's not failure. You are practicing. It's life. Move on, move forward. And remember someone like Joseph of Arimathea or Nicodemus. We're never sure what God's going to do with these things that we are trying to do in life in the end. So just keep moving forward, trying to be faithful, trying to be loving, using grace as your guide and kindness as the perspective from which you're judging yourself and others. As we are using these devotionals this week, grace and kindness to you, now and always, and the love of God forever.